All right. Hi, everyone. Today we're going to talk about our power in general. We're going to focus a little bit more on the motion groups, your 300 series and 400 series sofas. I know a couple weeks ago we did a recliner review and you had some power that was part of that. This week we're going to focus a little bit more on the sofa versions. So just a refresh of all the different power categories that we offer in recliners. Like I said, you've got your P10, P16, so just your power rocker and wall recliner, your 10U, 16U, so your power chairs with your headrest adjustment, your X prefixes, so you have your head and lumbar, heat massage and lift chairs, and we talked a bit about those. Today, we're going to talk mostly about your reclining sofas. So the Lazy Time 400 series, that's got your 1 to 2 motors per seat, depending on your prefix that's there, whether you have a P or a U. And then the Recline-Away, which is your 300 series, and those are 2 to 4 motors per seat. And you've got your 33P, 32P, 39P, the U prefixes or the X prefixes. You'll notice on the P prefixes, you'll also see a 3PR and a 3PL. Those are going to be for those two styles, the Pinnacle and the Rowan, that have the rocking love seat option. You'll have power available. You cannot do the headrest and lumbar on those options, but you can do the motorized version to be able to have them power recline. And then you'll see we've got Duo. Most likely we'll have a training coming up to just touch base about Duo and why it's a little bit different than our other categories. So you will see, like I said, today we're going to just really focus on the reclining sofas, your 300 series and 400 series. I've had a few questions about the motors and how they work, so I wanted to touch base with you guys about that. So first of all, I wanted to talk about our motor suppliers. So you'll see that we do have 3 motor suppliers now, where pre-pandemic we only had one, and we had Oaken. We've worked with them for a long time. The biggest issue was just that they couldn't keep up to our demand with increase in sales and furniture. And being a company that likes to test everything, it did take us a little bit of time to find new companies and manufacturers to be able to test and make sure that their output would stand up for our warranty, et cetera, et cetera. So Oaken is still our primary. They're based in Shannon, Mississippi. They still provide most of our motors. We've had a long relationship with them, and I don't see that changing. The company that we added, they started delivering in March of this year, is Limos, and they're based out of Baldwin, Mississippi. They're providing the motors for the 400 series sofas. So the P and the U prefix motors they're giving us some supplemental from that category and from that manufacturer. And then the third brand that we have is TI Motion or Thai Motion, however they're pronouncing it, I'm not sure. And they're based in Charlotte, North Carolina. So they started providing headrest motors for us in May, and then they're slotted to start delivering some of the Duo motors in July. So again, with the addition of these 2 manufacturers, we should see an increase in production speed coming through the pipeline, especially on some of the motor pieces that we've been waiting on. Again, we don't have access to their internal product supply chain, but the intent is that, across the division, we've got 3 companies now versus just one. So if their demand goes up or if they're having supply chain issues, we've got a backup that's still going to be able to supply motors so that our supply chain internally stays consistent for you guys. And then talking about our motion sofas, we've got a lot of power options, but obviously coming from those 3 manufacturers. So in our Recline-Away, just want to refresh you guys on our standard features. So your 300 series sofas, you've got those hinged back for the lower lumbar support. We have independent reclining, and that feature does stay when we get into power with the 300 series, which is great. We've got the 3-position footrest in the manual version and the double locking footrest. Obviously with the motors, there's infinite positions, and the actuator locks in position. So you have the safety features built in standard there. Your track and wheel assembly, that stays the same. It's just modified a little bit with power to be able to push out away from the wall and keep that wall clearance at 3 to 5 inches. So we can have them still be a wall hugging mechanism. And then you've got removable backs and everything. We still use our unibody frame. And then the no sag springs. One note about the materials that we use in the unibody frame. So there's a combination of solid wood, there's a combination of plywood and OSB. They're furniture grade materials on all three fronts, so a little bit different than what you would get if you just walked into a hardware store or a lumber yard to buy materials. And in our testing facility, they have tested different materials in different places, and the current combination that we have has been found to be the most durable and take the highest weight tests and pulls in the way that they test everything. And then we do use the contour coverage and polyurethane foam, and that's why we can offer that warranty for lifetime on the frame and the manual mechanism parts. So with our 300 series in power, you'll notice that these sofas offer the most customization in power features. So you've got more options in how many motors and where we're putting them than you do in the other lines. So your first option is just power, right? So the 33P, 32P, 39P is going to offer independent motor for the footrest and one for the backrest. Your standard operations are those 4 buttons on the side with the USB. So you'll have one set of motors for the footrest and one set of buttons for the footrest, one set of buttons for the backrest. You can order a hand wand option on this sofa. You'll have a 2W, and so you'll get 2 of these corded hand wands, one on each end. If somebody does want a wand on a P prefix sofa, love seat, or love seat with console. Your next upgraded option is going to be our U prefix. So you'll see the 33U, 32U, 39U. Your standard operation here are your toggles. You'll notice there's 3 toggles, 1 toggle for each motor that we're seeing in the seat, in each seat. So one for the footrest, one for the backrest, one for the headrest motor. The default on here will also come with a home button and 2 presets, as well as your USB. And then you do have the wireless hand wand option. So you go from a corded wand to wireless. You'll notice your option code is different, but you'll get the home button, the 2 presets, both on the wand and on the like nestle thing where the wand goes. Cradle, I think is the right word. And that's going to give you not 4, but still gives you 2 presets. That way, if the remote gets lost, the buttons on the chair, they're synced with those same positions. In addition to that, you have a search feature as well as an on-off switch for the remote. So great features all the way around on this collection. And then your third series here is our X prefixes. So you've got a 33X, 32X, 39X. So you've got your sofa love and love with console, still with all the same features that you had in the other prefixes. We've just added that lumbar motor here. So you get true customization of position, head to heel on this item. And again, you'll notice the wireless option here. We've added that extra set of buttons for the lumbar motor to be there, but all the other things are the same. Your home button and your presets are still on there. There are 6 sofas in the 300 series that have all of these options. So you've got your 512 Pinnacle, the 765 Rowan, the 747 Finley, 775 Mateo, and 739 Turner. The new introduction as of April 2022 is your 786 Liam. You guys should be getting the recliner for Liam in the next little bit here in the showrooms if you don't already have it. And that was introduced, the chair was introduced in October. They added the sofa in April. So once you get customers in the store, if they're looking for something to go with that chair, you do have that option. You can order it. You guys just won't see your floor models probably until the beginning of next year. I just wanted you guys to be able to see the individual motors. I get some questions from time to time about the lumbar motor particularly, and if it's an air bladder. I'm not sure if there's another brand in the marketplace. That seems to be a question that's coming from our customer base. So I don't know where that information is coming across. I just want to make sure you guys have the accurate information. And so you'll see this board that's set up. They did for a factory tour for us. So you can see each individual motor operating. And I'll talk about which motors do what here in just a second. But on the right-hand side of the screen, I wanted you guys to be able to see kind of the evolution of motors within our company. So you can see towards the top, they're a little bit thicker. Those are what we used when we had the first head and lumbar options. They're bulky, they took up a lot more space, and it made the backs of the chair thicker and quite a bit heavier. And then as you get towards the bottom of that picture, you can start to see they're a little bit more streamlined, they're a little bit thinner. And that's what we're using currently in our line. The wider one, obviously more for the Summit Series chairs or the things that have a wider backrest. You'll notice here we've got your headrest motor that's attached, so a little bit different shape. Obviously, that's just articulating the headrest. That middle piece is the lumbar motor, and I do have a video showing that operating. So again, you guys can see it's a true motor actuator that comes out and goes back in. It's not an air bladder that we filled or anything like any of those Sleep Number beds. I've gotten those questions a lot. You do have your backrest motor that's going to move your back, to the reclined position or back upright. And then your footrest motor. That one you guys have probably seen when you flip over a chair if you're looking underneath of it. But the other ones I think are all kind of encased in, so you don't get a chance to really see what they look like. Let me play this video for you. It's like I said, we did a factory tour, so you may hear the audio of the gentleman discussing which ones are which motors do what. But I really just wanted you guys to be able to see this lumbar motor in action. All right, so we talked about the 300 series. You guys have seen all the motors. A lot of those motors do carry over. So even though we don't have lumbar in our lazy time pieces, we're still going to use that same footrest motor. We're still going to use the same headrest motors. And that's where you'll see those come across in your 400 series. So again, just a reminder of some of your standard features in your 400 series or your lazy time mechanism. You do have that independent recline. It's a little bit different. It's the one position on the footrest with the push backrest. It does lock in that position and you have to kind of push pretty hard to get past it. So that's where a lot of our customers do choose to upgrade to power. There are cam adjustments underneath on the manual version, but it locks in that top position. And so starting to close the footrest on your 400 series is usually the biggest challenge. And that's where customers like to be able to have the power option. Your wall proximity here is still 3 to 5 inches. And then you've got removable backrest. We still use the same materials as far as that unibody construction in the seat frame and in the arms. You've got no sag springs. We still use the contour cut virgin polyurethane foam. You still have the same warranty. So that, like I said, carries through across the line. In our 400 series, you have more options and variety of style for your customer and a little bit less options in power upgrades. And so you've really got two options here. You'll see your 44P, 48P, 49P. So that's your sofa love seat and love seat with console. They're going to offer a single motor recline in each seat. Because these manually operate differently, they take less motors to be able to operate once we convert them to power. So you'll have that single motor. It comes with 2 buttons. So one to recline it, one to bring it back up, and you've got your USB standard on there as well. And then your next upgrade option is your 44U, 48U, 49U, and that's going to give your customers 2 motors per seat. So one to recline it and one for the headrest. Your default standard feature of operation is your 4-button operation here. So again, one set of buttons for the recline motor and one set of buttons for the headrest motor comes standard with your USB. You'll notice in this 400 series family, you have about 20 different styles available. And that's motion sofas as well as your modulars. All of your reclining sectionals are a 400 series. So where your 300 series are really all about features and you have a limited selection in styling, your 400 series is all the style and your features are a little bit less, but you have so much more available to be able to customize on those pieces. You'll notice in this family, there are no hand wand options because it's limited with features and buttons. You don't necessarily need those wand options. I just wanted to kind of do a cover for you guys of the motors, manufacturing, where they're coming from. I've gotten a lot of those questions. And then, like I said, I've recently gotten some information about or questions about the lumbar being an air bladder. So I wanted to clarify that for you guys and just give you a little bit of a resource here. If there are questions, please reach out. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.